Namaste, I'm Ashok Vyas. Welcome to Insight Tonight with Ashok Vyas. And before we get down to today's business, where we are taking up an important theme that relates to communication between Supreme Court and Center in the context of petition filed by Attorney Ashwini Upadhyay. Based on that petition, Supreme Court shared the opinion that forced religious conversions are very dangerous and may affect the security of the nation and freedom of religion and conscience. The Supreme Court said this on Monday, and then there was instruction for the center to step in and make very serious and sincere efforts to tackle this issue. Now, what union government has done in the process of making it stand clear, they were asked to file what they are going to do, and follow-up took place 2 days ago, where representing central government, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said that very serious and sincere efforts are to be made to check such conversions. What center is going to do about it is not yet very clear. What is clear is some states have also made anti-conversion laws, and the question becomes important because the attention is drawn towards fraudulent religious conversions by intimidation, threatening, deceiving, luring through gifts and monetary benefits. And Mr. Upadhyay, Attorney Upadhyay said these offense articles 14, 21 and 25 of the Constitution. And the center and state governments are asked to take stringent steps to control such conversions. Now, how things will follow up, we will see. But what is clear is there is no clear suggestion or encouragement in Hindu faith to convert others to their fold, whereas the same is not the case when you look at the approach of Islam or Christianity. And very understandable, many Christians and their websites are looking at this development as infringement on the right to practice religion. So the question comes, is right to convert also a part of the right to practice religion? So this has raised some important attention on this issue. This matter in India's Supreme Court will again be heard on December 5th, but we had a small panel to share their views on this particular important hot issue. We have the presence of Dr. Rakesh Sharma, Dr. Dheeraj Kaul, and Yogacharya, Dhananjay, Kumar. We begin with Dr. Rakesh Sharma.
Regarding religious conversion, it's nothing new. It has been going on since other religions started. As we know, Sanatan Dharma is the oldest, and then came Judaism, roughly 2,500 years ago, Jainism, then 2,400 years ago, Buddhism, but 2,000 years ago, Christianity, and about 1,400 plus years ago, Islam. So conversions started to happen right after Buddhism came into the picture. A lot of Hindus converted to Buddhism. And I'm sure we are not talking about that ancient conversion that happened 2,000 years ago. We are more concerned about recent conversions. When I say recent, I may add in the last 1,000 years or so. As we know, Muslims invaded India roughly 1000 AD, and that's when Hindus started to convert into Islam forcefully. Uh, that's number one. Number two, recently, after Britishers took over, a lot of Hindus were lured into conversion into Christianity. In the last 100 or 200 years, we have seen a lot of Hindus converting into either Islam or Christianity. The numbers are very shocking. If you look at the official numbers from Indian government, in 2021, I was reading officially, they claim about 280 people converted the religion in India, from Hinduism to Islam, Islam to Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity. Only less than 300 cases officially. But Vishwa Hindu Parishad has a claim that in India, roughly every year, 8 lakh Hindus are converted by force, by deceiving, by some kind of money giving or bribes. And 8 lakhs per year is a big number. So most of the Hindus are being converted into either Islam or Christianity around that number, and that is the point of concern. And I'm sure that's why Advocate Ashwini Upadhyay brought the case, anti-conversion case, in Supreme Court.
So, while I appreciate your contribution, and let me quickly add for our panelists, there is freedom to practice one's religion and to propagate one's religion also. And there are various ways in which it could be interpreted. So, if my uh, call it mazhab or mission considers propagating my religion as um, also an extension of my duty, that I convert others to my religion, whether I'm following Christianity or I'm following Islam, or so. In that case, Dheeraj ji, the right to freedom, does it also include my right to work in such a way that I can help others come to my faith? And if I may take a minute also to refer to Mission Network News, which is very much unhappy with the anti-conversion laws. Officially, there are 7 to 9 states which have also enacted anti-conversion laws, but on their website they say India's 28 states now, nearly half of India's 28 states now have anti conversion laws. And I will also bring their argument before seeking your comment. They say the church has been at the forefront in terms of hospitals and schools, the things that we all believe we should be doing as followers of Christ. So, this is, quote, Muslim men. And they are referring to RSS saying that poor people are being lured to Christianity. And they also say the church has been at the forefront in terms of hospital, etc. But they say anti-conversion laws will not stop believers from sharing the love of Jesus. And they are very much critical of Hindu nationalists. So, Dheeraj, based on your understanding so far, do you see freedom uh, to practice one's religion uh, and to convert others to one's religion are one and the same thing?
Namaskar, thank you for having me on the show. I think it's a very important question, and the Supreme Court has taken a notice of it. It was recently PIL filed as well, and the specific question was there is a threat to the nation. So Supreme Court has judged it as a threat to national security. If you look at the Northeast states, there are cases in which Amazon actually directly involved in propagating the conversion to Christianity. There has been cases filed against it. There are other MNCs and countries which are actively converting, especially if you go to Northeast, including Lakshadweep, islands like Lakshadweep. There is a mass conversion going on. And see, Indian constitution gives you a right to practice any religion, but conversion, religious conversion, that too, if you are lured into it by financial, economical power or job, or house job, you won't believe it. Certain people are promising healthcare. coverage of their diseases if you convert to a certain religion. Don't want to quote that, but that's how people are getting converted. So yes, if you believe in a different religion without any being lured into it, that's a different ball game. But in India, it's very different. People are lured into by giving money, by financial support, houses. Some people are saying we'll pay for your cancer cure. This is very unfortunate, and those people are converting without their free will. It's not a free will; it's under pressurized conditions. So that's why Supreme Court of India has taken notice of it and said it's a threat to national security. It's a very serious issue, and I'm actually grateful that finally some government in India has recognized it. And it's very interesting. Certain states, like we mentioned, if you are in Gurgaon, it's illegal. If you are in UP, it's illegal. But Delhi, it's legal. So you literally can cross within half an hour to an area where it's legal or illegal. So this is very confusing, and that's why pan-India rule has to be there. It's a big debatable question how many parties will come. But I think all of us have a right to practice a religion which we believe in and pray. But at the same time, conversions, that too, because of some materialistic gains or pressure, I think it's extremely unethical, and I'm grateful that Supreme Court of India is taking a notice of it.
So what will happen? We will have to see. I think this is just the beginning of dialogue, and in what way government can look into it. We will have to see. But Dhananjay, I want you to address your reading, and there are multiple ways. So we will not get into the side of while we have cases of forcible conversion to Islam in India also, in several ways, and we hear about these terms like love jihad, or there are some news items where they get some benefit if they succeed in converting someone. It's like a marketing plan that so there is a collective uh, thought process going on, and that would probably come under, in some way, under the umbrella of their way to interpret the right to practice and the freedom to practice their religion. So overall, I think in Hinduism there is no concept of conversion as such. You are born into it, and if you are willing, you come, and there is no that kind of mental tone.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will also stretch uh, Dhananjay ji, the culture of India and what we call as Hindu Dharma or Sanatan Dharma are intertwined in certain ways. So there are certain places which become significant, and you have river Ganga being worshipped, revered, or multiple places that acquire extra intense spiritual significance as a part of Indian culture, or you say it is a part of Sanatan Dharma. So when the demography changes, the way you will take care of these places, these rivers, or these mountains would also undergo change. So, how do you see? Let us look at it beyond religious conversion as a question of protecting the sanctity of a civilization, which we refer to as Bharatiya Sanskriti. Dhananjay ji.
Namaste. Thanks for inviting me, Ashok ji. Um, I would like to think about it a little differently in terms of cultural evolution and the role of customs, traditions, and rituals and symbolism. So, this is not something that at a given point in time, through a particular text or a particular teacher or guru, Sanatan Dharma and Darshan was created. It is something that evolved from observation, from self inquiry, from connection with nature and connection with society and education system. So, with all that short background, the in Sanatan Dharma there is, as you all know, there is no concept of conversion. So we get kind of amazed by all this effort going on to convert Hindus, that there is something more than what appears to be happening. Uh, Historically, there have been instances, many people, even in today's world, are drawn towards Sanatan Dharma. That is totally different. Sanatan Dharma, nobody has asked them to come and learn about us and convert. Some people have adopted Hinduism without any effort on part of Sanatan Dharma. They have read some books, they have read Gita, Upanishad, and the ancient sciences, astronomy, metallurgy, medicine, Ayurveda, etc. So they come to the source. If that happened even in the British period, that when the texts were translated, people were said, wow, this is so wonderful. They want to learn more. They traveled to India. Even today's, world's great CEOs, presidents, businessmen, they come to India and to learn. So that has been our system. So the idea of conversion or converting anybody to Sanatan Dharma is totally not part of the system. But on the other hand, um, conversion is a big business. There is a lot of money, I understand, from reading and talking to people. There are quota systems. There are, per conversion, certain amount of money, and some sort of sanction or punishment if they don't perform, because that is part of their job, as they normally admit. Yeah, it is part of their job to convert. So as you mentioned earlier, conversion is not same as freedom. It is basically undermining freedom of others who are being converted
So now
through,
let us look at, yeah, sorry.
yeah,
But now,
through just to complete, through intimidation, through magic and whatever. So this process is also motivated by a couple of other factors, I feel. One is political, as you mentioned, vote bank politics and shift in population uh, numbers, proportions. And that has a great meaning for many religions. That if they are a small percentage versus 2% higher, and in a decade or two, 10% higher, that means that has a big meaning in terms of political power and influence in society.
Dr. Rakesh Sharma, we have heard cases where individuals also, by their choice, uh, convert. Let's say there is someone who wants to marry again, and there have been cases where some people converted to Islam so that they can have another wife, because that is permissible in Islam. And then there have been some cases where the court said that this marriage is null and void, because this is to fulfill some other agenda. So it is very difficult to, in legal terms, to identify and pinpoint that someone out of his willingness is changing the track of his faith. That is one question. And I'll also connect it that in 1954 there was an initiative in Indian parliament on central level to establish anti-conversion law, but that didn't get through because a lot of opposition. So overall, your take now, the politics come into play. What is it that prevents uh, such a law to be in place, which also, by the way, in 1954 India was not this kind of a secularist state as it is, but still it has always been secular in nature even before independence in one way. So your take on the opposition to anti-conversion law on the central level?
Yeah, it's a long answer. As you mentioned, India became secular only in 1976 when Indira Gandhi changed the constitution. Before that, it was not a secular state. And by the way, Indian constitution, and that's Article 25 to 28, clearly says you have right to your freedom, and you also have the right to change your religion. That means conversion is legal in India. Now, saying so, if you look at the 9 states that have passed anti conversion laws, one of the original ones was Madhya Pradesh. And luckily, I went to medical school in Bhopal, so I know Madhya Pradesh very well. Madhya Pradesh had this anti conversion law as the first state in India. And that doesn't mean that you cannot convert your religion. Let's say you are a young person, you fall in love with someone of other religion, you can definitely convert. But court says that you must file with the court 6 months in advance, writing very clearly why do you want to convert. And that's all. So you put an application and you say, well, I'm getting married to Mr. Smith, so I want to convert my religion. And court will look at your application, will grant you the permission that if you are genuinely getting married. That is not in question. Every state has its own law. If some of them don't have, they will, as you mentioned earlier. But that's besides the question. You have the right as an individual to live in any country and convert to any religion. That's up to you. What we are talking, what the Supreme Court is concerned about is mass conversion, because that is a threat to the national security, and not only threat to the national security, but it's also a little a sense of person's sense of right and wrong is being taken away when you forcefully
Okay.
convert
Sorry,
people.
supplementary question. Supplementary question. How it is a threat to national security? You want to
Yes.
elaborate on that?
If let's say Vatican decides today that they will invest $10 billion in India, and they will give 5 or 10 lakh rupees to each person to convert to Christianity, like it's happening in Punjab. A lot of Sardars have converted to Christianity in the last 10 years, and I think the going rate is 5 lakh rupees. So if Vatican puts $10 billion, you can easily convert millions of Indians within a month. So that causes the problem, because our culture is based on Sanatan Dharam. We are not brought up as a Christian nation. If suddenly nation becomes Christian or Muslim nation, one, that we will lose our culture. We will be like Zoroastrians who were thrown out of Iran. They all converted within 10 years into Islam. Same way, so this is national security issue. So the question here is, are you converting people en masse forcefully, fraud, deceivement, money, bribes? If that is so, that's where the anti-conversion law comes into the picture.
Thank you. I'll quickly share the Article 26, which is related to freedom to manage religious affairs. And it says the right to form and maintain institutions for religious and charitable intents, the right to manage its own affairs in the matter of religion, the right to acquire the immovable and movable property, the right to administer such property according to law. And in spite of India being secular, I think this is not practiced evenly. While Hindu religious institutions are under government control, and then others are not.
Yeah, I think like all of your teams, religion is a personal choice, but if you load somebody into it by pressure, by money, that's very unethical. Any country, self-respecting democratic country, has the right to stop it, which India is doing very well. Just to take 15 seconds of your time, I think somebody mentioned people converted to just do an extra marriage. It's very unfortunate. One of the legendary Indian actors, Dharmender, converted to Dilawar Khan, married Aliba Bey, Hema Malini, who both happen to be a public figures without any shame or fame. And people voted for them. What does that tell you? Our own people don't look into these things. So there's a problem in the society, like you rightly mentioned. So people are setting wrong examples. And that's why I think judiciary has come in. This is a very welcoming step. At the same time, who else than a Kashmiri Pandit community has suffered from it? Look around in Kashmir, last name same, my last name, you can find a Muslim gentleman who was converted again because of pressure from Aurangzeb, Mughals, later on lured by minority politics. You will find millions and millions of cases like that in Kashmir as well, and it's very sad, and it's going on till now. Kashmiri Pandits are being executed throughout, even today. I mean, even few days ago. So that's a very different debate. But the point is, our community has suffered big time under these pressures. And what was the problem? The problem was, if you want to stay in Kashmir, convert to Islam. That's it. Convert to Islam, all problems disappear. We have suffered it firsthand, and not only from centuries this has been going on. Ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Pandits. And different parts of the world also, you can see certain communities have been suppressed. But I think this is high time a democratic country, self-respecting country should make a law. And as per Article 14, a crime is a crime in every single state, same punishment. So how come you can have 10 years of prison if you convert in UP, but you're okay to do that in Delhi? So I think that's why the PIL is filed, and I think I have full faith in Indian judiciary. I think they'll do a great job. And Minister of Law is also very active into this.
Yeah. So very briefly and very quickly, Dhananjay ji, your suggestions on how a common man should work towards protecting the sanctity of the flow of Indian culture. And we do not have enough time, but our education institutions are also not letting the Sanatan Dharma being understood in its proper way. And I think you are working in that direction also. Briefly, yeah.
Yeah, Ashokji, another way to look at it is those who do convert for whatever reason is partly not because of the attraction of the other religion or their philosophy or whatever, but it is because of the ignorance of their own Sanatan Dharma, the history and the culture and
Okay, so
the knowledge tradition.
supplementary
Yeah.
question, and we just have a minute, but I think you can address it. So we recently had an occasion where in Delhi, 10,000 people converted to Buddhism, and that point relates to the way they say Sanatan Dharma or Hindu Dharma have caste practice. How would you address and what should be done?
Proactive is a better knowledge and education in Sanatan culture, Sanatan darshan. Then people will find it very difficult intellectually and spiritually to leave it behind for money or for some other tricks, etc.
To leave has a lot of open-ended threads that probably we'll try to pick now and then. But the more important thing is the thought process should be there, awareness should be there, and this is a very interesting development from Supreme Court, the communication with the center with respect to freedom of religion and mass religious conversion. So thank you very much, Dhananjay ji, Dr. Rakesh ji, and Dr. Dheeraj ji for joining
Thank
us.
you,
And
Ashokji, for having us.
thanks to all of you.